The way the ambulance. Yeah.
It's kind of like a loss of life.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty.
Am I automatically?
I think that's.
So you will, as he has, so we need to work. It's a little bit scary.
Right, yes.
If you see some.
See it, my little,
Kind of excited.
literally sit on my couch. It's right there. It's called. Stop my name. Video. I can see it. Clear. But then I have gone.
I consider it.
Okay. Do we think it's, or are you putting him?
I'm sitting right.
They actually
Okay.
asked me to, so she's too.
Do we wait a second then?
She is. So you can say this, okay? Oh.
My problem
Very
is.
good. You just saw this.
That was Jason. I guess you get a vote.
I should have voted, yeah.
He wouldn't give me one, so
You know that. You get games.
I'll help you though if you need them.
Yes, to stay, except for mine is.
So Jason, do we want to do the voting first?
However you want to do it. You can do it now, or you can do it at the end of the meeting. You can run the meeting tonight and we vote at the end of this week, or end of the regular meeting. We can do it here, doesn't matter.
Okay.
She'll be the chairman in that meeting though, right? No matter what.
Well, it depends, but yeah.
Depends on if I lose.
I would do it at the end of the meeting.
The end of the meeting.
Yeah, the end of the
Okay.
meeting, and there's the last thing, just go ahead
So I don't think we will.
and do that,
Okay.
and because then we can, because whoever is elected chair may not be, oh, I have what, you know, and so, you know, may wanna just talk about some procedure.
And I don't have to update my resolution, so if they could do that, that's.
Well, it's just because it was here, I just, I mean, you seem so convinced I'm going to lose. So,
It's not happening. Which one of these? We already know who the chairman is. Sure. Person.
Well, but it's your call,
Yeah.
how you wanna do this.
I just meant more in terms of, like, it's on for the pre-meeting, and so that's why I guess I was just thinking, we've always done it for the pre-meeting, so.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was just thinking about, I was curious about going through that first versus. I guess I get to decide, huh?
The burden of chair.
You can do it at whatever you want.
Whatever I
Hey, listen to
want,
Gary.
for like 2 more minutes, no.
Nobody else does.
Yeah.
Why should we start with the trend?
Hey, don't give me encouragement.
Did you say, did we hear something?
I got notice from Teresa that our report from TAC to the city council is unsent that. It's going to be also awful asleep.
It's totally impossible. It's to do whatever you want.
Still waiting on Mason.
Yeah.
You have to wait for me to join.
Beach somewhere.
Grant. I from Mavic came out until 4:30.
But it all sense, yeah, all has it.
Okay.
I don't expect some of this thesis.
So there's lots of things like that.
Hey, Ryan.
Yep.
Oh, We have one here.
Yes.
Okay. Hey, so who's gonna join us? Do we need to wait?
Yeah. Okay, well, we're gonna go ahead and start.
Yeah, nothing yet.
Okay. I think for the interest of time, we'll go ahead and start. Maybe we'll hold elections until the end of the pre-meeting and see where we're at. If Hayes grants us or not. So let's go ahead and call the meeting to order, and I'd like to start by recognizing Kate joining us as our liaison from City Council.
Excited to be here.
Very excited to have you, and I'm not sure I know who you are.
Hi, I'm Becca. I work with the neighborhood improvement team, so I do code enforcement.
Okay,
So I'm here today.
okay, thanks for joining us. Okay, then we'll start with our review of the agenda.
So the first item up is Dutch Brothers Coffee, or Dutch Bros, on 865 North State Street in the C2 zone. So we've seen this particular portion of the city many times in the last several months. This is the developer came in, it was with their site plan, they were just mainly concentrating on improvements to curb gutter sidewalks. Each individual property owner now will come in and present their own site plan. They will be responsible for their lot and site and landscaping. So this is Dutch Bros. It's going to be a 950 square foot building. They'll have a drive-through and walk-up service, but no indoor seating. This is their landscaping plan for their lot and for the park strip out on State Street. They are required for the size of their building to have 4 parking spaces. They're providing 9. They can go as high as 48 feet. In the C2 zone, they're going 24 feet. These are elevations of what their building will look like. Pretty standard if you're familiar with Dutch Bros. This is what the lot currently looks like. Do you have any questions so far?
You go back and maybe zoom into the drive.
The layout,
The site plan?
yeah, cause I was in Payson and it was, I mean, there's so many cars, it was a nightmare.
So they got double drive-through there,
So what they enter in from,
that backside.
From further up, they shouldn't have a drive.
So they have 2 coming in here, down, so they can stack all the way.
so they're coming in from over by.
Oh, there's one right there
From the
too.
parking lot, State Street's out here,
Yes, they're coming in from,
from internal.
Either way, there's
Well,
access right.
there's also an access right by where the car wash is gonna
Well,
be.
that's not an access.
Right here.
That one's not the access, is that just an exit?
That's a drive.
This is
Yeah,
the access, yeah, sorry, I was.
That's what I was trying to say, there's an access below their property and then up north.
But anyway,
so you won't stop on State Street then?
no, they're all stacking
They
internally.
will.
This is what we keep being told, we keep
There's a
having
car
issues
wash
with
below
some
and
of,
Dutch Bros above.
Yep.
and then there's gonna be another
That's
restaurant
It's
above
gonna
it.
have a lot of traffic.
Well, if they do stack up,
Guarantee it.
they have to go all the way around here and all the way
It
down.
already backs past.
So they're coming in this way and going around.
This is the entrance right here.
Yeah, there's
That's just
also an
regular traffic.
entrance further
And
north.
That's just
one
regular
lane,
traffic.
And then they go out.
Right,
The same
which
way.
means you're gonna,
That makes sense?
I disagree.
Yeah, so they go out.
We'll see.
We disagree for months, big ones, so.
I just thought it was crazy.
Yeah.
And so there will be no curbs or anything that each owner cannot, they've given access to all the rest to go through all their properties, like
On the backside.
On the back.
on the back, not on the front.
Well, that's State Street.
So access will be back here. That's the reciprocal access. So you can see the site plans are all individual, but somebody can come drive here, come up here and access this one, or they can access this one, but then they go out and go out this way. Or access here. So there's no access across this.
There's another access to the very northern part that you can't see because it's on that other lot.
Well, I think
Right,
that-
adjacent to the,
It's right there too.
Yeah, so
That's what we're trying to say, but
Oh,
still,
you're
right on
saying
State Street.
Yeah, but they still can only enter the.
Drive through there.
From this end.
But they could still stack all the way back and then turn it on to State Street. I'm just saying hypothetically.
Yeah.
Very populated.
hypothetically, that's about 40 cars.
On a snowy morning, yes.
Story.
So they can exit on the State Street.
But a quick walk up the street, sure it'll even out. The quick whack part, I don't know about Dutch Brothers.
The
I
quick
don't go to Dutch Brothers, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I was just in the car that was at the Dutch Brothers, but I didn't.
So I've seen the Dutch Bros in Provo and University back out the street.
But that's,
It's the same configuration.
but I think that lot's probably a lot deeper, I'm assuming, right?
It's a little shallower lot, but.
But it's longer than Provo.
This
Yeah,
was
Provo's
longer.
shallow.
What's going north?
We don't know yet.
Oh,
A restaurant.
okay.
That's what was on their site plan. Any other questions? All right.
And to be clear, our problem isn't with the Dutch Brothers, it's literally about ingress and egress on the state street. I just wanna be clear that it's not this.
Yeah. For that car wash, yeah.
And that power pole, like I keep looking at that power pole in front of the quick quack and going, are they removing the power poles or are they going to be there? when
They are
people-
not removing.
So the whole entire like cut in and cut out will be before that, between those two,
Decelling would be
that's what I meant.
It's on here.
It's been a few weeks.
we see it over that cut.
Well, I can hold it.
And you can see the power pole down.
Okay,
Is that the light?
It's
the green box.
One of these two are the power pole.
oh, that's, yeah, and that's the green box, okay. Alright.
Anything else? All right.
Last.
3.2 is Maverick on University Parkway. This came in for their site plan approval, I think in December, perhaps November. This is for sign zone. They are currently in sign zone B, which is a default sign zone.
Which allows them to do what? In the D.
I'm not sure.
Monument sign.
Only monument, but no pole signs, and they want a pole sign. So this is the current sign zone. You can see there's a C across the street at the Chevron.
Chevrons across.
And then down
Parkway.
east towards the freeway is also sign zone EC.
Yeah. I just want to get into sign zones.
So in sign zone C, they want a 40-foot high pole. So in order to do a 40-foot high pole, they have to be 40 feet from the right of way. So they'll have to be 40 feet inset into their property. Equal distance from the height of the pole. And the proposed sign is also 199 square feet, which is 1 foot under the maximum of 200. This shows their general location. They'll have a pole sign and a monument sign. They will be separated by 100 feet. This is a street view.
So basically gives them the same rights as the Chevron across the street.
Correct. So they're not really changing the zoning, they're just changing the sign zones, which will allow them to have that pole sign.
Do the neighbors have any say on that, or do they have to notice the neighbors on that? Because there are neighbors behind the property.
You
They
mean like
sent
to the
out
south?
stuff
They
for a
noticed.
neighborhood meeting that they didn't.
Oh, they held a neighborhood.
I was there, but they weren't there.
Oh, so I guess they didn't care, I don't know.
They didn't show up, so,
Maverick didn't show up?
yeah, I was
Or the
there.
neighbors, were there other neighbors there?
No, but nobody showed up. You can't access the lot very well either, you know, it's all covered with fences and stuff, but
Could be a good question for them.
I drove all the way around and I drove across the street looking, saying, am I in the wrong spot? Called my wife, what's the address on that? Said it in Google Maps, they didn't show up.
Wow.
Good for you, be a good question.
That would be a good question.
I gotta go.
All right. Are you up for that one? The next two are related. The Tierra del Sol at 1014 North, 1280 East. They want to build a family recreation / exercise building. This is the current plat. You can see that lot 2 down at the south end is basically just around the house, and the house meets the setbacks. However, in order to build the new building, they have to expand that. So the new plat shows lot 2 will now take the full part of the property east of the road. That will give them enough space to build the building and meet the setbacks for the house and for the build. So this is just a plat amendment to change lot 2 from that little parcel around the house to the larger parcel to the south. And then we'll just keep going to the conditional use permit. In the PD 18 zone, if you have built an accessory structure larger than 1,000 square feet, you have to have a conditional use permit. So that's what this part of it is to get a conditional use permit because this building is 15,000 square feet, which is more than 1,000 feet. So these are the elevations showing what it will look like. And this is what it looks like now. Any questions on either one of these? This is a residential zone.
Right, so this 15,000 square foot gym will just 15, yeah, will just be used by the people that own that
The property.
lot or by like the
No, it's
entire
just
neighborhood?
private, it's private for their family. It's for
For
their
basketball and some other things, right?
Yeah.
Weight rooms, things like that.
Maybe
You could ask him what he's putting in it. I think all I know is a basketball court, but
maybe a
they
swimming pool, a racquetball,
This,
they
Pickleball course is
They could
one
do all
of
kinds
those.
of things.
I went
Do
to
we have other gyms that size in Orem?
private.
Yeah.
The rec center.
There's some.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Are there some private gyms that might be that
Most
tall?
properties don't have that much space
Yeah.
to build one that large. It's kind of a unique property.
That's, yeah, he owns most of the old golf course.
And that view there, is that a drive-in entrance into the property? Is that
That's the
right?
driveway to the house.
To the house?
Mhm.
How far back is the house?
You can see it on,
It's one in the middle.
so the road that we're looking at is out here, then you come to the driveway that.
And the gym will be in front of the house, I guess.
Yeah, the gym will be to the
On the
south of
south
the
side of the
house, so the gym is technically on the side of the house.
What is to the south on the
Yeah.
other side of their fence?
Palisade Park.
That's
Yeah.
part.
Oh, okay, great.
Do they have to notice any neighbors for that at all? Because
No,
They
I think we did notice.
Oh, we had a
site plan.
neighborhood, we went to the neighborhood meeting.
There were neighbors who showed up.
what did they say?
They didn't really
They were just
have
curious.
any complaints or worries about it. The only complaint I heard was they didn't like that they had horses on the property.
Yeah, that's all I heard too.
Cause it backs their fence and they stink.
Well, the gym might change that.
Well, it's only,
But it's up for.
You can have
the-
horses on if you have more than an acre.
but it's only for his residents, not.
Right.
Yes, it's a family, private.
Yeah, it'll still be behind that gated area.
Doesn't mean you won't have private parties, but it is a private thing. Sure. Not a commercial.
And is this, the city council's not approving this, this is not a
Yes.
public.
It is a city council.
This one, the conditional use permit there, the plat amendment's us, the conditional use permit, we make a recommendation to them.
City
Okay.
council.
Well, that was another comment, a couple of people made, they were concerned that they were gonna rent it out as a venue.
That would not be allowed as a commercial.
Right. But that is something they expressed a concern about.
Doesn't mean junior jazz or, you know, a son's team won't come over and practice.
Right, yeah, or church ball, whatever.
Yeah,
Any other questions?
that's the last one.
How many acres is that lot?
Seemed like it was a lot, like over 9
lot.
Let's go back to the site plan.
Wow.
It's like 85% of the old golf course.
So lot 1 is 33 acres and lot 2 will be 4.5.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Stiff.
Peterson. Peterson.
Oh, okay.
Any questions? All right, now that's it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think we can go ahead and take care of elections, we'll just have them. You want any Hasten? Yeah, muted.
Are you calling my name?
Yeah, we're just moving on to the next item, which is the annual selection of the chair and vice chair. We just wanted to make sure you were involved in that.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
So-
I'm out of town. I apologize. I really tried to not do it, but I had to.
He's apologizing for not being here.
Yeah, it's fine. We're just trying to make the technology work. That's always fun. So I guess we can do the vote several ways.
So you can open up for nominations, you can just do a secret ballot, you can, however you want to do, the ones that get the most votes is the chair, the second vote is the vice chair, we can do it many ways. We've done it all different ways.
Did it all different ways, so. I mean,
Well, I want to nominate Madeline by acclamation to be our chair.
I'm with you. I don't think we need the secret ballot.
I'm fine staying.
We did that last time and then Hasten said no, thank you.
Jerry, would
So
you
let's
be
just discuss it.
Hey, someone, would
Yeah,
you
we're
be
fine.
okay with Madeline by acclamation?
Being president of chair.
Madeline can stay the president. She's doing a phenomenal job. It's not my decision. She's doing an amazing job.
Thank you. So I guess I can stay president. The question, I keep saying president. How do you feel? Okay. Thank you. Vice chair then becomes the next question. Hazen, do you want to stay vice chair or does anyone else want to be nominated?
I would love for others to be nominated, just given my upcoming busy work schedule. I'll be out of town for the next few months, and we'll have to decide a few things.
We can obviously do Jim, who's not here. I'm surprised when he comes back. Have you, any of you else interested in being vice chair?
I would like to ask Mike how he would feel about it. I think he would do a very good job.
I would agree.
I'm fine doing that. I'd be happy to do it.
Are you suggesting we do Mike by act?
Well, I didn't want to nominate him if he
Doesn't
wasn't
want us to,
interested, you know, so he's very, very knowledgeable.
I'm responsible for that. And can I do that?
And he goes to all the neighborhood meetings.
He does.
He represents us well.
So does Jim. He goes to.
Jerry,
Would you be okay with Mike being vice president? Hazen, what do you say about Mike for VP? Vice chair, VC.
I believe it's a great idea. He does attend all the meetings and he keeps up to date with all the city items.
Okay. So that, I guess that means I will stay as chair and Mike will join me as vice chair this year. What, do you want to say something?
Oh, no, we're good.
You're good?
You're welcome to say something.
No, I just didn't know if they had to make a motion to.
Oh.
Vote, so that's good.
So are we good? All right, then we will move forward that way. So you can save your little papers for next year.
That's all right. They did that last time, next time we might have to.
Next time you'll need him then.
Oh, a few more.
There's a couple more. There we go for next year.
Okay, we have two other items of discussion. We'll start with the first one, which is a discussion on parking of vehicles and trailers and landscape portion of residential front yards. Is this a revisit of the ordinance we've done before? Is this something different? Okay.
Do you need my adapter?
I have one that is a little. Do you want your adapter?
I'll need it back.
Thanks. I have one right there.
You can take my other thing. I don't know whether this was last year or the year before, I don't know.
It was last year.
Was it last year?
Thank you. Okay, this is potentially a code cleanup item. Can be a very brief discussion, but that's up to you. Situation that we have, we're gonna talk about is defining the issue. Give you some examples of prohibited parking that we're specifically referring to. And then just feedback from the planning commission at this point. We're not looking for any decisions tonight. We're don't even have a formal ordinance completely drafted at this point. Gary and I are combing through the code, look for any type of unintentional consequences before we draft. Submit a final draft for your consideration, but so we're gonna sort of cut it off here after number 3, but we'll come back to you. Our intent is to come back to you with a proposed ordinance specifically for discussion. Now, obviously have a public hearing recommendation to the council. So the issue is we have 2 codes that are inconsistent with each other. One, we have chapter 11, health and sanitation, specifically the nuisance article. This is not necessarily a planning statute. This is not one that we would typically come to you for a recommendation on. It's at least I don't think so. I don't want to verify that, but it's not in the zoning code. It's a whole completely different chapter. But in nuisances enumerated, which is about 35, 36 different types of nuisances, number 32 is parking on landscaping. Parking area required to be landscaped by city ordinance constitutes a nuisance as defined above. Every situation, conduct, or activity listed below constitutes a nuisance and may be abated pursuant to the ordinance. NIT can speak at length about their process for how they abate these things, but versus our zoning code, which has this one provision in Article 22.6 residential zones. Boats, boat trailers, recreational vehicles, travel trailers may not be placed, kept, or maintained in front yard areas of any residential zone, except on a paved driveway or gravel parking strip that complies with the requirements of subsection N below. Boats, trailers, recreational vehicles, and travel trailers shall not violate the clear vision area of a corner lot. So the situation that NIT has explained to me, and Becca Gorley here is with NIT. Welcome her to our group today, and she has the hard, difficult task of telling people no lots and please comply. And I've done that job before many years ago, so I have all the respect in the world for Becca and her team. That often they will have people that are being asked to comply with the code come back and point out this zoning definition or this zoning section wherewith the NIT has then come, yes, that does exist, but we're actually enforcing based off chapter 11. So it just creates this sort of conflict, unnecessary conflict, cause confusion and delay, promises in the doghouse again. Sorry, one of my favorites that I throw it in. I always tell my children this one. Cause more confusion and delay. But this is why the ordinance exists. And Becca's here. I'll just hit the button and you can comment as long or as little as you like on these.
Yeah,
These are photos that.
words. I hope we have pictures here.
Yeah, this is the several examples that NIT submitted to me.
So, I mean, most of these are gonna be pretty self-explanatory, but like, the number one thing that we get is because that one code says technically travel trailers. And then we run into this where some people will be like, oh, well, it's a flatbed trailer. And then we're like, you run into that and you have to say, well, no parking in general. So there's like this, we've got quite a bit. There's that one. We often with these kind of white utility trailers is probably the number one thing that I get pushed back on as far as it's a utility trailer. And then I have to say, no, we're looking at the 11 codes. And then there's just quite a bit more. We get these around town fairly often. Like that one, this one is also can be kind of confusing for a lot of people just because the required landscaping, people typically think of their front yard, but in the ordinance, it also includes any side yard that's street adjacent as well. So that would also be a problem that's on the side like that. We get lots of these kind of flatbed ones.
Just for clarification, they can do side yard if it's far enough back if it's not street adjacent?
So it's kind of weird. So it depends on whether or not you're on a corner lot. So if you're on a corner lot, basically like if you've got a picture in here somewhere that I'll have to pull up for you.
Let me go back to that one.
but I can actually just pull it up real quick. Are you okay?
Yeah, totally.
Awesome.
Sure.
Let me pull it up. It's described in the landscaping part of the code. So sometimes you gotta kind of hop around a little bit here. If it loads.
Hey, Nick.
Some regards is using on their, some that's also on the city's part. They're supposed to.
And while she's looking this up, under the nuisance ordinance, you can't park anything on required landscaping in the front yard. Under the zoning, it says travel trailer, but then you get into a definitional argument. What's a travel trailer?
This is usually what we're running into.
Can we hook that up and show that?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah,
To everybody.
You have a USB, let's see if you have the right connection.
So,
What, is that the code?
so under
Yes,
the
just pull up the
zoning code, the question comes up, what's a travel trailer? And this is a travel trailer, it's not, you know.
Travel
a
trailer
fifth
supposed to be
wheel.
an RV or a.
Yeah,
tent, right?
it's nothing like that, it's a flatbed trailer, like put toys on or landscaping equipment. But I guess fundamentally, at the end of the day, it comes down, what is the planning commission's recommendation? Are these different types of trailers a problem in Orem? And do we want to prohibit parking of that somewhere? If so, then we probably should make our ordinances consistent among themselves. So that if somebody looks at the nuisance ordinance and then somebody else looks at, you know, because as an attorney, I'm like, ooh, is there an inconsistency somewhere? Yay, you know, doing that.
They're combing the code for, I'm like, that's so exciting, and I'm like, I gotta not say that.
You know, and so just to clean that up so that there's predictability for the enforcement officers, there's predictability for neighbors, there's predictability for people who are doing things. And we're doing it in a way that makes sense for us here.
I think we need to be really mindful of overly trying to dictate somebody's personal property though. Cause they have property rights which really supersede most of what the city wants.
Well, and that's part of this issue. So when you have a property right at common law, it's your property. You can do whatever you want on your property as long as you're not impacting your neighbor. And then we kind of come in and we've gone from, hey, you know, you're dumping garbage and soot on my property to now, well, you have to have it landscaped. And so when you pass an ordinance that's in derogation of your common law right to do what you want with your property, we need to be very clear and specific about what we want to do. And I think that's the major discussion point here is how clear and specific or what are the problems that we see out there that we want to fix? How can we be clear and specific to address those problems, but yet not be overly regulatory and interfere with people? Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I agree with that statement. I mean, some of it is a detriment to your neighbors. It brings down property values if you park
Don't touch anybody.
trailer in the
Yeah.
front yard. Control it, let the weeds grow tall and long, in a residential space anyway.
I live in extreme south Orem, which is a couple of blocks into Provo. So I live in Provo. My wife and I were out walking the other day and somebody had put in their front yard a travel trailer. And then you could see the line for electricity hooked up to it. And then the next day we walked by, they put up those panels that you put around the bottom of the travel trailer.
Oh.
It's like, oh,
Was it
somebody's
Provo or Orem?
somebody's setting up shop here.
So, this would just be the corner lot example for the required landscaping. So pretty much anywhere from like the furthest exterior part of your home out to the sidewalk. And then that also kind of runs adjacent here. So sometimes, well, quite a bit of times we end up with people on corner lots parking big trailers and trucks and everything all in this area. And it often causes a problem for people who are trying to use the intersection
And
and
that's
turn
just-
left.
Yeah, where does the line between the sightline issues and like, cause you can't even have your fence high right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 25 feet
Hang by a
back
tree.
of the curb, so imagine the sidewalk or curb out here. 25 feet back, that triangle's gonna create the clear vision which prohibits anything.
From being in that area.
But I mean, it's almost redundant because the nuisance code also prohibits anything there too.
But
So it's not just about,
walk by
it's not
houses,
just
I
a
have
clear
this and
vision saying you can't park anything there. The nuisance code is saying you can't park anything in the clear vision plus the additional
Plus all
areas.
this other, yeah. Okay, no, thank you, that helps clarify what is considered, that's what's required to be landscaped.
Yeah.
And that's where they,
Yeah.
So, and you can run into, like, often the easiest solution that we have is say somebody will have like their backyard fence here. And all they have to do is just push it so it's flush with their home. And that will clear us of any, it's off your required landscaping thing, so. A lot of the time, I just have to deal with, well, is there any way you could just push it back a little bit so it's flush with your home? And usually that will clear it out.
Jason, I think as a standing practice, we enforced this nuisance code with any vehicles parking on landscaped areas for probably 30 to 40 plus years, correct?
Yeah.
So this is not a new thing. This has been the standard in Orem City for probably as long as I've been alive. I don't know if it's been consistently enforced as long, it's probably been in the code as long as that. So, do you wanna go back to the photos or you
Yeah,
wanna
let's just
proceed
see
with
photos.
questions?
you like the photos, no, no, while we're looking through those, and maybe I'm jumping ahead in your presentation, but we did pass that there is a gravelled area, those gravelled areas would be within that required landscape. Is that some of the issue of whether or not it's on gravel or not?
And so gravel would consider part of that required landscaping area,
Okay.
and that's very defined where they could put the gravel,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
so it's not a, I don't wanna say free for all, but it's not.
The
It's
gravel
very
is
defined where you can do it.
Right.
Because that's important for also figuring out if these, like that one, the go back one, it's technically on gravel next to a driveway, so.
Yeah, the gravel ordinance also says that the gravel driveway addition can't be installed right in front of the home. So
Yeah, that's right,
They-
that location of the gravel is very specific.
they're really close.
Well, no, but it's helpful for illustration for us to understand what some of the nuances.
Yeah,
So the front yard in this case needs to be landscaped, and they have no landscaping.
This speed.
This may be a question too far out, but have we talked about further removal of grass requirement in landscaping in Orem? Or is
We're
it
down to 50% right now.
done 50%?
Which is any vegetation from that grass.
Right.
and Dawn?
Weeds don't.
That one was Gary's. But yes,
That-
this one was up, sometimes you get people who kind of stack a lot. Another thing is this is a corner lot as well, so anybody driving up to their home, cause this is all, if you were to keep going up this road, that's all like the neighbors' houses, so it's right there. Everybody will see it on the way in.
Yeah.
I don't have enough vehicles.
Some people like to collect.
This one was, after I already worked with him to get about 2 of them taken off. And same thing, corner lot, just stacking them all up. He actually recently got this gravelled partway, so he can use like just right up here now, which is very nice. And yeah, and that's the other thing too, is a lot of the time when we have these trailers out in front, they also tend to attract other things in them as well. They usually pick up junk either under them, around them, on top of them. And then that one was.
Okay, so back to number
Yeah,
one.
that's just, sorry, that's a leftover carryover, I think.
Yeah, so like this one, he also has a flatbed right behind the white thing, so that's fine. And again, he starts filling up, this is all grass and leaves. his poor neighbor right next to him went and got his own driveway gravel too, so it was one of those situations where one person did something and then the other one didn't, and then created kind of that disparity. I think. Oh, this one was my favorite. We said that, could you please cut down your weeds? And he manifested a lawnmower on a trailer and parked it on his driveway, his lawn.
His weeds.
And then he got that part fixed, and then a week later, he moved his other car right where that was, and it was all dead, and the weeds had come up underneath it. So that happens fairly frequently. And this one was even cooler. He was paying people to store all of their trailers back there, so every time we go by, they were different.
This is the backyard, not the front yard, right?
So he's also a corner lot. So his boats are technically fine. These little bad boys right here, every time we went by, there were always new ones too. So that was what I think. Yes, and this is a good example of one that, right in that clear vision. And usually like when the camper ones kind of get put there, they're not moving too often. So it's kind of a semi-permanent clear vision issue that comes up again and again.
So this is not the proposed amendment, it's just the first draft. Gary and I decided we're gonna continue looking at this. It may be as simple as just changing some of the language in the code from recreational vehicle to just vehicle. But we wanted to make sure it was not creating unforeseen problems elsewhere in the code. Cause there are some references in the code to travel trailers elsewhere and stuff. But we wanted to just discuss it with you, so at least introduce the idea to you so that you can be thinking about this over the next few weeks. You can provide us any preliminary feedback now or prepare more formal feedback for future discussions. But again, it could be as simple as just making the code more consistent, or if the planning commission thought there was more issues to discuss, even philosophical, that would be your prerogative to sort of bring up now or let us know in the next couple of weeks so that we can sort of program more or less time to decide.
I just had a comment. The one thing I wouldn't want to do would be to hurt someone's livelihood. You know, so if they needed a flatbed that they've been using for a while for work, I would hate to put them in a difficult position. That would be my concern.
Yeah, and again, I don't know everybody's situation in the city.
Right.
My initial response or feedback to that might be, there are places usually on a property for them to find a legitimate place to store that vehicle. Whether it's clearing out a garage, whether it's parking in the side yard, even the rear yard, I think we permit,
Yeah,
correct?
rear yard would be good.
So most people could work around it.
Yeah, also, our only thing is just that, according to the nuisance code, it can't be on the landscaping. So either getting it pushed back or just putting it on the street. Usually most of these vehicles can be relocated to the street. That's either pushing back or putting them onto the street is kind of the number one mutual solution we see to that.
So we do permit trailer parking.
So you have ordinances about maintenance of landscape, right? So I don't think that being on the landscaping is important, because if they let it overgrow, they're in violation of something else already.
Yeah,
And so I don't really care if they park on grass. I don't wanna make somebody pay $10,000 to drag gravel into their yard just because you don't want grass strips underneath it, as long as they're maintained in the space.
Right now, that's not permitted.
Well, you asked for feedback, given that's.
So what I hear you saying, Mike, is what I don't think we're trying to do is make the code more stringent, we're just trying to make it consistent. What you're saying is we need a less stringent.
Well, you've got really abusive people taking photos of, right, putting trailers in the front yard. They obviously, most of them don't care at all about how their property looks, but there are a lot of people who, I've got a friend, they park their trailer on the side of their property. It's clear in the back corner. Their house sits really far back, then on a big deep lot, so they get bothered. And there's nothing wrong with the way it looks. It's very clean. They maintain their yard. There's no weeds growing around it. And this kind of thing affects them and it shouldn't.
That's one of the challenging nuances of crafting zoning codes, we often have these very egregious type of examples. We craft a code to try and resolve that, but then it may impact situations which aren't really that egregious, but technically they fall under the umbrella of whatever we crafted. And so, that's one benefit of young planners doing zoning enforcement, to get a little bit of perspective saying, oh, okay, I better be careful how I write this. Even our best job sometimes creates unintended consequences for maybe like your neighbor, your friend. So there's always trade-offs, but I think generally looking for today, should we continue down the path of creating more consistency, or would you like to open this up to even a larger discussion? I think that's all we really need here today.
Okay, go back to that, David.
So I mean, in the past, last couple of years, we did have Aaron McKnight looking at all the codes. He didn't finish them because he quit. So we're trying to go through as a council because, in my opinion, we have codes that are stupid, they're ridiculous. And they're being enforced, and I don't think that's right. So I think the direction of the council is we are going to go through those codes and get with the NIT and say, because she probably goes, these codes are not right, right? So we're trying to get their perspective and make it, I don't think you can do a broad brush and say everything's gonna be fine, but if we can take those problem areas out, I believe I own my home. I should do what I want with it. It's America, right? There are things and I don't want government, I want small government. So I think we're gonna go look at the codes, and it's gonna be an undertaking, but I think that's the direction I think the council is going to go and get within the net and see exactly what we can do and make sure that we're on the right direction, because, home ownership is key, and I own my property. I should park whatever I want in my driveway. And there's a code that says if I have a car that's parked there, the license plate's left, I have to move it. Garbage. I own the home, so, and that's my personal opinion. So I think we are looking at that. I think this is just the tip of the iceberg right here. I think there's a lot of other codes we need to look at. So I think it's more of a longer process than a shorter process in my mind, but that's my opinion. And I think as we had our retreat, we talked about it. So I think that's the direction we're gonna go.
So I'm looking for a term, but it's just escaping me right now, but cops use it, right? We choose to incite you, or we choose not to based on discretion. Thank you.
Enforcement discretion.
Maybe we should tell the NITSPOT to use discretion
No,
in
I think
stuff. Because if it's obviously not an eyesore or a problem, just because it violates code, you probably shouldn't cite it.
Don't you get in a complaint? You're responding to complaints, or do we go around looking for this proactively?
So we're about 60-40. We get 60% of things are reactive for us. When we respond to a particular complaint or home, we usually do the neighborhood just to make sure that we're not feuding a neighborhood war and also that people aren't getting targeted. Either because maybe there's bad blood between neighbors or something of that kind. So we just want to make sure we're going in and being fair when we go through a particular area as best as we can. So
I do think
It's a concern. It's definitely a concern. I think we need to address it, and I'm gonna give it Mark Sorensen and then we'll sit down, because they're firsthand, they know, this code doesn't make sense, but I have to enforce it because we had the complaint. So that was valuable feedback, and then we can take that and figure it out. But I think, this is at least a good start. And if people they keep doing it, right? You have to have some kind of mechanism that you have to stop, right? And I wouldn't want to park my trailer on my grass, it would kill my front yard, right? So that, to me, it's common sense, but I think, the discretion is key, and I think we just need to come to a solution that's gonna work hopefully for everybody, and that we're mindful that,
We want to be good neighbors, not a
Correct.
HOA.
Correct. And it makes her job very difficult, because they'll give a ticket and I'll get a call, right? And I'm like, okay, what do we do? So is the code really, if the code says that, then we gotta fix it, right? So I think that's the process where we're at right now.
Yeah.
To make sure that she's not the bad guy and I'm not the good cop, bad cop, because they call me and let's see what we can do, but it's the law. We have to enforce it. So that's where the code, we gotta make sure that we're reading the code. It doesn't, this nuisance is over here and this, we have to fix it. And that's, I think it's gonna be a longer process than shorter.
We have to get to our other main meetings, so I'm sorry to just cut you up, but yeah, I do think we need to address this again. I do think, and as of course, the other item that's also on here today, I think we just come back, and I appreciate the introduction to it, because we'll now be thinking about it and have some more, but yes, I think making the code more consistent and easier to enforce, more straightforward, is something I would think we would all agree on is being important and wanting to work on.
Could I make a suggestion as you're going about?
30 seconds.
Yes, in the community, if you see something along the lines we've been talking about, that you think this is a problem, this shouldn't happen. Take a quick picture of it, and you can email it to me, and then we can take those. And then you may see some things like, yeah, I see people doing this, but this really isn't a big deal. And then we can take a look at that, because we want to make sure we tailor it into ordinance to really just get what's really a problem.
So in that vein, I know we're out of time, probably 10 seconds. We'll provide each of you a map. I actually intend this for a different discussion, but I'm gonna pass it out. Keep this in your car, take notes on it. You know, where you take a photo, you know, jot it down on here. Have these little flags if you want, flags, just sticky notes on there. And start taking notes about this issue, and you can also use it for this other issue we have on tonight's agenda. Down the road.
We're discussing lightning impacts, so, but we do need to adjourn to the other. Thank you so much for coming, we really appreciate it.
I'm just below Cherry. You know, that's south of this. That assisted or rehab, Aspen Ridge Rehab. Yeah. I live just in that neighborhood. And I literally live, it's 2000 north in Provo. I live in 1888 north. So I can almost throw a baseball into.
Alright, that's why.
And maybe in my younger days, I started talking about it.
Test the mic. Testing. No.
Hey, Jerry.
Oh, I'm on, but you
How you feeling when your neighborhood thing got?
That's working in here.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is interesting.
What do I hook up?
Yeah,
It is working.
it's working in here.
What do I hook up to? Is it this?
You can actually, wherever you're presenting from.
It's not hooked up to anything. I'm gonna Thank you. I'm high maintenance. Around here, Mike Carpenter.
Well, I'm gonna take this one back over.
Hey, Jerry. This is working in chambers, so we need it, we like to use it. We gotta. Okay. I'm just saying, I can hear it and hear this, I can hear it. So it wasn't working in the community college. For whatever reason. So.
You got the.
Volume is right there, and then there's the piece.
Mike Carpenter, vice chair.
Oh,
I had Ace on there.
good job.
Where is Hasem?
I'm here. I'm here.
He's part of the meeting, so we have to just put his name anywhere. Because he's coming in from Zoom, he has to have his name up there.
Come on, Mary. I'm not completely out yet.
Yeah, this is. Yeah.
Let me see, where am I? Oh,
You're right here, Karen. Right here.
you're saying he's gonna be with us virtually.
Yeah, he's on Zoom, and so we have that line here. Interesting. That's weird.
This is interesting.
Mike, did you see your new title up here?
You get to sit next to me?
That was quick.
Aren't you excited?
Yeah, I do.
All right, well.
But you know better.
Oh, yeah, let me switch that.
It might have been.
Guys were calling each other over the weekend.
Where's Jim today? Anybody know? Oh, he did? Okay, as long as he's not sick or something.
Oh. You had trouble with tempo this morning, Donald. Oh. Felt like that heater wasn't on.
No, a lot of that stems from LED lights.
Does it?
Yeah, we used to do lots of games in this.
Oh.
Same thing happened when we went last to monitors to flat screens.
Yeah, oh, really?
Yeah, those, no, Bellevue building was designed to be heated by the, all the tubes. When we switched to flat screens.
So, anyway, I saw the big chandelier is now LED. It's not. Oh, really? It's white light. It's not yellow. I wonder if I now found where. Anyway, sorry, I am turn my mic off.
Okay.
I look at the chandelier.
We're centered at. Centered this. Will you unplug and shut back to it?
Yeah.
Mike knows how to run
Finally, plug it back in now. It took a minute for it to source your thing. for some
No.
reason.
That's actually smart.
Oh, that's your background.
So let me exit out.
Yeah.
The idea.
Can we warm ourselves on the?
Okay,
Are we good?
Frozen icing like.
just have to wait for Zoom to, YouTube to catch up for delay.
Then models, the address is the lot, it's all that stuff. Somebody might have. What if the little, how long did you wait? The fire roads. How long has it been? I don't know. Okay.
You didn't see anyone else drive around and saying, hey, what the heck is this now?
I went over to Jackson across the street.
You're good.
Wow.
Okay, I'm gonna call this meeting to order and would anyone like to give the invocation?
I'll pray.
Okay, Murray. Thank you.
Our kind and gracious Father in heaven, we are grateful for the many blessings we receive from thee. We're thankful for this great city of Orem, and we're thankful for this great country we live in. And we pray that the freedoms we enjoy will continue, and pray that there will be freedom and peace throughout the world. We ask thee to bless us as we talk about the development of the city of Orem, that thy spirit will be with us. Please help us to be wise and kind, and to make decisions that will be for the best long-term interests here in the city and for the residents. We pray for these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Okay, item 3.1.
All right, item 3.1 is Dutch Bros Coffee located at 865 North State Street in the C2 zone. This shows where they are, just north of 800 North off State Street. This is a picture of their site plan showing where their building will be. They will be stacking back towards inside the property, not towards State Street. They also are responsible for landscaping on their own property as well as the park strip along State Street. So this shows their landscaping plan. They are required to have 4 spaces, parking spaces based on the size of their building, but they are providing 9. And they will also can go as high as 48 feet. In the C2 zone, they're going 24 feet. This will be a drive-through, walk up window only. There will be no interior seating. This shows their elevations of what the building will look like. This is what it currently looks like. And did you have any questions for me? Or the applicant?
Say, any questions for the planning commission?
Questions for the applicant.
Okay. Do you have a question for the city?
No.
Okay. Is the applicant here? Would they like to come forward to the mic? Is it not connected?
Hi, Shelby Eldridge
Thank you.
with Barkhausen Consulting Engineers.
Anything you'd like to say or just answer questions?
We're excited to come to the city of Orem and hope you approve our project and here to answer any questions.
My question really is about what are kind of the peak times for this and kind of what's the throughput? I mean, if looks like there's 9 or 10 cars that can go through there, and does it take 3 minutes a car or does it take 1 minute a car?
Yes.
And when are the times when this might create some traffic problems?
So we've noticed kind of in this market, our peak hours are 8 to 9 a.m. and then again from 11 to 1 for like kind of lunch hour. This site in the actual stacking can hold up to 21 cars within the queue and still has more on site for spillover. I did notice in your previous meeting, you were concerned about the site in south of here. So this will help relieve some of that site as well. However, that site's a much smaller site. It's only about 16,000 square feet, where this is just under 29,000 square feet. And that one in the queuing lane actually only holds about 11 cars and then only allows for another 15 on site. So that's where some of that spillover is. But for this site, to go back to your question on how we can accommodate 21 cars in the actual stacking lane and probably an additional at least 10 on site without actually spilling over. And with our baristas and how fast they move cars through. Again, we don't have speaker boxes, right? We take orders as you go. We can get cars in and out in 3 minutes.
Do you have any external seating?
So this does have a walk-up window, and typically we do have like 2 kind of like picnic tables there if people do want to sit there, but the intention really is more of the drive-through use.
Any other questions? I was gonna say, what is your average at peak? Like, how many your average at peak for cars?
So for this site, we did have a traffic engineer look at it, and at peak hours, it can hold all peak cars. That number, I believe, was like 24 or something like that. But yeah, it absolutely holds all the peak cars.
Any further questions? You good? Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Are there any further questions for staff? Or are we ready to move to motion?
I was just going to say, I would assume if there's too many cars there, there's a natural, if you're going to wait for an hour for coffee and maybe it'll naturally take care of itself to an equilibrium, I would assume over time. But I hope it's faster than 3 minutes, because with 24 cars, that's 72, that's over an hour for some coffee if there's 24 cars.
Sorry. That's from taking your order to then actually handing you the coffee.
Are there 2 windows? Sorry.
So there's not 2 windows, but the window is, there's that exit lane because you do have runners that are out there actually taking your order, and then they're also running the coffee to you.
Sorry, I didn't
So if you
understand.
look, there's an escape lane that if you get your order, once you get, or like you already have your coffee, you can kind of bypass the window, go around in that escape lane.
Oh, that's what that is. Okay. Thank you for that clarification. So, okay. So anyone like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the site plan for Dutch Bros Coffee located at 865 North State Street in the C2 zone.
I'll second it. Helena?
Aye.
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 Oh, thanks, Jason. Motion passes.
All right, item 3.2 is a sign rezone for Maverick at 1249 South Geneva Road in the C2 zone. So this shows their location on University Parkway and Geneva Road. This is the current sign zoning. You can see that they are not currently in a sign zone. So in that case, they are defaulted to the sign zone D. Sign zone D does not allow pole signs, so they are requesting to be rezoned in the sign zone to C. So you can see the chevron across the street is also C, and then closer to the east on the near the freeway is also sign zone C. In sign zone C, if they want a 40-foot pole, which they do, they would have to be 40 feet from the right of way. And the size of the face of the sign can be up to 200 square feet. They are proposing 199 between two separate signs on one pole. So they meet that requirement. This shows where they want to locate the signs. There will be 100 feet separation between the pole sign and also a monument sign near the entrance on the south off of Geneva Road. This shows what it currently looks like. Any questions on this one? And the applicant, I believe, is on Zoom, if you have questions for him.
Yes, two representatives from Maverick are online.
Okay, we will go to them shortly. I actually do have one question. Is the monument sign that they're proposing okay under the zone D zoning, or do they need to change to the C in order for their monument sign to be?
They could have a monument sign in sign zone D.
But is the current one they're proposing meet the specifications for zone D?
Actually, the one that they're proposing doesn't meet either zone. They will have to size it down to meet the zone. But this is just, we'll worry about that in the building permit part when they actually come in with their signs. This would just allow them to have the sign, the pole sign.
Yeah. Well, I was just curious
Yeah.
about the monument sign part of it too.
Yeah,
so.
but they are allowed to have a monument sign
Yeah.
in D.
Yeah, but I wasn't sure if if the one they were proposing was bigger than what was allowed, or if there was any limitation on the monument signs within the current zoning.
Yeah, it's the same between D and C for monument signs.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for the city at this time? Okay. Then if we want to invite our applicants in, if they would like to say anything.
Clint, I don't know if you're the one who wants to speak.
Yeah, hi,
Okay.
I'm Clint Carver. I'm project manager at Maverick, or we're headquartered up in Salt Lake. And thanks for taking the time to review this, and look forward to any questions you might have.
Okay. Do we have any questions for the applicant?
I do. Did the neighbors who live in adjacent properties, did they have any concerns about the signage and how it might impact them? And maybe I'm asking, did you have a neighborhood meeting and what was the turnout and how did that work?
Yes, there was a neighborhood meeting, and there was, I think the only one that attended it was from the city.
So where was that held? Because I went to the address and there was nobody there.
I believe it was held at a nearby hotel conference room.
And this meeting was held twice, just to jump in. This is Melanie Ruff with Maverick. It initially was held on site and it was harder to find. So we did have a second meeting for that, and that was held at that hotel. I believe it was Holiday Inn across the road, I believe.
I didn't get the second one. The first one, nobody showed up.
I went to both of them, and
Did you?
I was the only one there.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant or? Okay, thank you. We will get back to you if we need any more information.
Thank you.
Thank you. So this is a recommendation to the city council, just to be clear, this is legislative, so do we have any further discussion, or are we okay with this?
Well, if no neighbors objected, I don't know why we would object.
I think that the property to the north has it. I think it makes a lot of sense for them to have one on their property. They've got a fairly large piece of land there too, so.
We do have what is it, lumen restrictions on the signs, right?
Yes, we do.
So if there's no further discussion needed, would somebody like to make a recommendation?
Sure.
Make a motion, sorry.
I move we forward a positive recommendation to the city council to approve the rezone for Maverick location at 1249 South Geneva Road in the C2 zone to be added to sign zone C.
I second it.
Helena?
Aye.
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 Haysom?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. We'll do a positive recommendation to city council on that matter. Okay, item 3.3.
All right, items 3.3 and 3.4 relate to the same property. It's about 1014 North, 1280 East. And this shows where the property is. This is regarding the plat amendment. This is the existing plat, and if you look at lot 2, which is that small square down on the south end of the property, that is currently all there is on lot 2. The rest of the property is lot 1. They want to build a family recreation / exercise building, and in order to accommodate that building, they need to enlarge that lot 2. So this is the proposed plat, and you can see lot 2 has now grown to encompass the entire south part of that property east of the road. And this is what the property currently looks like. So this part of it is just basically the plat to change that lot 2 from the small lot that it currently is to enlarge it to accommodate the new building.
Okay. Any questions for staff? Okay. No question, okay.
Other than how you call that small.
Do we need to consider both these together? Are they independent?
They're separately. One is approved by Planning Commission, this one, and then the other one is a recommendation to City Council.
Yeah, so we kind of need to do them separate.
Yes.
Basically, they want to just redraw their lot lines. So in and of itself, in this one, is the applicant's representative here, and would they like to say anything, or no? Okay. Yeah. I don't think we have any particular questions about it, so should we move to, unless somebody does? Okay, should we move to motion then? Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. I recommend that we vacate Tierra del Sol Plat A amended and approve Tierra del Sol Plat A second amended, located generally at 1014 North, 1280 East in the PD 18 and R12 zones.
I'll second.
Okay.
Aye.
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 Haysom?
Aye.
Okay. It passes. Okay, sorry.
So 3.4 is regarding the same property. It's the conditional use permit. So in the PD 18 zone, it is required if you have an accessory building over 1,000 square feet that you get a conditional use permit. So that is why they are coming in for this. This would be for the accessory building, which will be south of the existing home. And this building will be 15,000 square feet, which is why it's required to have a conditional use permit. This will be a family recreation exercise building. It will not be commercial, won't be open to the public. This shows the elevations.
How tall is that? I was just curious.
Ooh, I used to know that.
30 feet, okay.
And again, this is what it looks like from the street. Did you have any questions on this one?
You do?
Yeah.
Do you have questions? Then ask questions.
Who lives to this, that's right on the south side of the property?
Correct.
Who lives to the south side of that property?
So the south side of this property is Palisade Park,
The neighbors are to the
which
east.
is city. There are neighbors to the east. I think you can see them going the wrong way, sorry. On this map. So there's residents to the east and to the west, but to the south is Palisade Park. And to the north, I don't know what that is, open property.
It's the side of a mountain.
Water tanks.
So the neighbors that would be closest would be the neighbors to the east, actually,
Correct.
to that building. How far is that building? But that building is further west in the lot than the house, right?
Yes, it's south and west towards the road. This shows where it is.
Would be like dead center.
On the property?
Yeah.
Yeah.
200, almost right.
So it's a little bit, it's mostly south, but a little bit west of the existing house.
And on the south part of the property, are there trees? We saw the one with the entrance into the home that there were trees. Are there trees on the south as well?
I believe there are between the park and the property. Sorry.
So yes, so just so it's on record, yes, there's trees and there will be more
Yes.
trees.
This new building is like 230 feet to the west of the property line of the neighbor to the east. And she attended.
Hold on, can I have you come to the mic? Because we have to pick it up for our council members not here and commission members not here and the Zoom. No, I appreciate it, thanks.
I'm Jerry Anderson. The homeowner that lives to the east, she attended the neighborhood meeting we had. We explained everything to her. And this building is 228 feet west of her property line. So there's plenty of space. There'll be trees all along the south side, and they're going to add even more trees on the east to protect her.
Thank you. Any further questions? Okay.
I guess my only questions, were there was a neighborhood meeting? Were there any concerns from in the neighborhood meeting?
Just
you talked about the one neighbor. Were there other neighbors who attended, and what were the questions and concerns the other neighbors may have
Yes,
had?
Mike was there, and the concerns that they had were, is it going to be a public facility? Are they going to have public events there? No, they are not. The other concern is that was voiced is not really related to this building, is that Todd and Andy have some big events there that they go through the city and get permitted, like they had one on the 3rd of July. And some people complained about parking in the street when they had their event, but not related to this.
Thank you. Any further questions? Okay. Are we ready to move to motion then? Okay.
I'll make a motion. We recommend that the planning commission moves a forward positive recommendation to the city council to approve the conditional use permit for a family recreation exercise building located at 1014 North, 1280 East in the PD 18 zone.
I second it.
Okay. All right.
Aye.
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 Haysom?
Aye.
Okay, we will forward a positive recommendation to the city council. Thank you. Next item is review of our meeting minutes from December 6th, 2023. I did find one error that we probably do need to fix in it. On item 3.8, the first action said the motion passed failed. We just needed to say it failed. All of them failed. The first motion on that one, it's actually written the motion passed failed, and it just needs to say failed. Yeah, so, yeah. Oh, that was the one.
I was not there at that meeting.
Oh, I'll explain later.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's more time than this meeting has already taken to explain that one, so we will move on. But otherwise, the meeting minutes were fine. Did anyone else? Do you want a motion to approve?
I move we approve the minutes from our December 6th, 2023 Planning Commission meeting.
Second.
Helena?
Aye.
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 Haysom?
Aye.
Okay. Meeting minutes are approved. And Ryan?
Welcome back after the long break, and we're glad we could give you some tough ones tonight. But really, we're just getting you ready for some big ones to come.
Okay.
But you passed the first test. Cheryl put that in there just to see if you were paying attention, right, Cheryl? So just kidding, but glad to have you back, and look forward to working with you this year. So thank you. Thanks for being here.
Okay. Thank you. Well, with that, anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
I'll second. Okay, Helena? Aye.
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 Hazen?
Aye. Thank you.
This meeting is adjourned. Thanks. Oh, I guess I could have. It says it right. I know.
I switched the sign. This is the name, so I switched the sign. Someone's gone. Fix that.
You were my.